Hi, welcome to this session, and in this session we will learn everything about type 1 question. So type 1 questions are typically the questions that start with a word like is or like does, right? So the questions ask, is this true? So such a question needs to be answered in the form of either yes or no. So the very basic fundamental is that the statement is considered sufficient when the statement can lead us to a conclusion which leads us to an answer which is either definitely yes or definitely no. Which means if we have either of these two answers but a definite answer, then the statement is considered sufficient. If the answer using a particular statement is sometimes yes and sometimes no, then we say that the statement is not sufficient, right? So the basic is definite answer, whether it's yes or no, means the statement is sufficient. But if there is an indefinite answer, that sometimes yes and sometimes no, then we say that the statement is not sufficient. So that's the bottom line. According to this understanding, we will quickly see a few questions. I have here kept 5 questions which have different answers, so we will understand that what type of question leads us to an option answer like A, B, C, D or E respectively. Now, having done this, now let's quickly see the first type of question. So here is the first type, in which the question is asking, is x less than or equal to 2? So we need to answer this question in the form of either definitely yes or the definitely no. So that is the form that we need to keep, either definitely yes or definitely no. We should always keep these 5 options handy so that we can quickly find out that which option is correct and which options can be eliminated. So let me just quickly write down the options A, B, C, D, E here. Now, the moment we read the first statement is that x minus 2 times x minus 1 is equal to 0. So I am using the same two statements for almost all the questions. Only in one question I have changed the statements a little. So this statement means that x is either 1 or 2. Now, when we look at this statement, then x is either 1 or 2. When we see 1, is x less than or equal to 2? 1 says yes, 1 is less than or equal to 2. And when we say x is either 2, is 2 less than or equal to 2? The answer is again yes, because 2 satisfies the condition that x is less than or equal to 2, whether x is 1 or 2. That means the first statement is definitely sufficient. Now remember, in the previous video I told you that A and D options are like Romeo and Juliet. They live together and they die together. Because the first statement alone is sufficient, so A option is still alive, therefore B, C, E options can be ruled out. Now we have to choose the options from A and D. Now let's check the second statement. The second statement says that x minus 3 into x minus 2 equal to 0, which means either x is 3 or x is 2. While 2 answers yes to question, because if x is 2, then x is less than or equal to 2. But if x is 3, then 3 is not less than or equal to 2. Therefore, the second statement alone is not sufficient. And because the first statement alone is sufficient and second is not, therefore, the answer to this question becomes option A. So that's the first type of question. Now, let's move to the second type of question. The second question is right here. Now, I hope we can see the second question right here. So in the second question, the question is now asking, is x greater than or equal to 2? So if you see carefully, then the first question and the second question, I have only changed this inequality sign. But the answer of this question also again needs to be given in the form of either yes or no. When we check the first statement, then the first statement says that x is either 1 or 2. While 1 is not greater than 2, 2 lies in the range, because if x is 2, then x is definitely greater than or equal to 2, because equal to sign makes the answer to the question yes. Because the first statement gives us inconsistent answer, so we say that the first statement alone is not sufficient. That means out of the 5 options A, B, C, D, E, option A and D can be ruled out. Now let's check the second statement, which says that x is either 2 or 3, because either x minus 3 is equal to 0 or x minus 2 equal to 0, which means x is either 3 or 2. But we choose whether we choose x equal to 2 or 3. Do they satisfy the range? Is x greater than equal to 2? Then 2 says yes because x equal to 2. 3 also says yes because that is greater than 2. Because the answer is consistent even though we don't have the unique value of x. But since the answer is consistent, so we say that the second statement alone is sufficient. Because the first statement alone is not sufficient and the second statement alone is sufficient, so the answer to the question becomes option B. And that is how we answer the second question. And therefore the second question looks like you can see right here. So I have colored the option as well, right here, B option. Now let's see question number 3. So here we have question number 3, which is asking, is x equal to 2? Now it's a question which again needs to be answered in the form of either yes or no. But whether we answer it yes or no, that entirely depends on the value of x that we get from the statement. If x is equal to 2, then we answer yes. If x is not 2, then we answer no. Right? But the statement would be insufficient when the answer is sometimes yes, sometimes no, like I already discussed. The first statement gives us that x is either 1 or 2. So while we have 2, the answer to the question may be yes, but for x equal to 1, the answer to the question is no. That means the first statement is clearly not sufficient to answer the question, which means out of the 5 options A, B, C, D, E, we can rule out option A and option D straight away. The second statement says that x is either 2 or x is either 3. Once again, we have answer sometimes yes and sometimes no. So once again, it's not sufficient to answer the question, and therefore we eliminate option B as well. Now is the next step that we combine the two statements. You see, when we combine the two statements, then we always have to take the common solutions of the two statements. The logical reasoning behind that is because the first statement says that x is either 1 or x is 2, which means x can't be anything other than 1 and 2. Similarly, the second statement says that x is either 2 or 3, which means x can't be anything other than 2 and 3. When we look at the two statements together, then the value like 3 can be ruled out because of statement 1, because the statement 1 clearly says that x can't be anything other than 1 and 2. So 3 is ruled out. And the second statement rules out x equal to 1, which means now we are left with x equals to 2. So the answer to the question is definitely yes, which means together we know that the two statements are sufficient, and therefore answer to the question becomes option C for this particular question. I hope you understand this, and therefore now let me quickly take you to question number 4. Question number 4 is a question that is asking, is x greater than 0? So whether x is greater than 0 or not, that again the question that needs to be answered in the form of either yes or no. Let me quickly write down the 5 options A, B, C, D, E. The first statement says that x is either 1 or 2. Now, there are two possibilities, x is either 1 or 2. But is 1 greater than 0? The answer is yes. Is 2 greater than 0? The answer is again yes, which means the first statement gives us a consistent answer, that is yes, which means that the first statement alone is sufficient. The moment we say it's sufficient, B, C, E options can be ruled out. Now A and D live. Either first statement alone has to be sufficient only, or each statement alone has to be sufficient. Now we check the second statement, which says that x can either be 2 or x can be 3. Now, irrespective of what value of x is chosen out of these two, because each value is greater than 0, so answer to the question is definitely yes. A consistent answer means this statement alone is sufficient, and therefore the answer to the question becomes option D, and A option is out. Now, this is a question which has the correct option as option D. And now the fifth question. Now the fifth question is typically a question like this, in which the question is asking, is x equal to 2? Now again, the answer of the question needs to be given in the form of either yes or no. There should be a consistent definite answer. The first statement here, I have modified the first statement a little. There is one more factor that has come in here. So because of which it says that x is either 1 or 2 or 3, which means is x 2? The answer could be yes, the answer could be no. That means the first statement alone is definitely not sufficient. Out of the 5 options A, B, C, D, E, option A and D at this stage can be ruled out because the first is not sufficient. The second statement says that x is either 2 or 3 or 4. Either 2, 3 or 4. So the answer to the question can be yes, can be no as well. So once again, the second statement we have proven in this case is not sufficient. Now we combine the two statements. After combining the two statements, like I said in the previous questions explanation, that we need to take the common answers. So the common answers, the common values of x that can be taken from the two statements together are x is 2 or 3. But the question is x equal to 2? We still have answers sometimes yes and sometimes no, because x can be 2, which gives the answer to the question as yes, and x equal to 3 is no. Therefore, we say that this statement, even after combining the two statements together, not sufficient, and the answer to the question becomes option E. So this is how we deal with these 5 types of questions, and this is how we look at the information and find the correct option for that particular given question. I hope this makes sense because we have dealt with 5 questions with 5 different answers. So all possible answers have been understood by these 5 examples. Thank you so much.